importance as this session unravels the transformative dynamics of the modern supply chain. The transformative role of 3PL warehousing in modern supply chains. In a landscape where consumption trends are as dynamic as ever, third-party logistics 3PL warehousing emerges as a pivotal player. Join us as we delve into the intricacies of this transformative role. This is not just a discussion, it's an exploration into how 3PL warehousing is shaping the future of supply chains. Ladies and gentlemen, to start with, let me invite the absolutely wonderful moderator for this session, Mr. Mandar Maitre, Senior Director, Head 3PL Business, JLL, an accomplished business leader with over 2 decades of experience in doubling business volumes, establishing a new $1 million business growth opportunities as well, and boosting 3 into sales profitability within a year at established global logistics brands. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Mr. Mandar. Moving on, I would also like to call on stage now Mr. Gaurav Gupta, Managing Director, DSV Global Transport and Logistics. With a remarkable career spanning 2 decades, he brings unparalleled expertise to drive innovation and sustainable solutions in logistics. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Mr. Gaurav Gupta. I think we need more energy. This is the last session for the last day, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on, I would like to call on stage Ms. Chandrakala Boba, Director, Boba Group. It's amazing to see a lady on the panel. Leading the charge in aviation and airport cargo handling, she's a visionary behind Boba Logistics, pioneering micro-fulfillment warehousing. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it from Ms. Chandrakala. Next, I would like to call on stage Mr. Balbir Singh Khalsa, Executive Director and India Head, Industrial and Logistics, Knight Frank, India. He's the driving force behind Pan-India's industrial and logistics business with over 3 decades of dynamic leadership in real estate. He's a maestro in orchestrating multifaceted projects, land acquisitions, leasing excellence, strategic dispositions, and more. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it from Mr. Balbir Singh. Next, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Sitaram Srivasan, Director, Supply Chain and Customer Experience, Herman International, India. With 22 plus years of expertise in business operations, supply chain management, and customer support, he's a seasoned professional reshaping the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it from Mr. Sitaram. And our last speaker for this panel discussion, may I call on stage Mr. Abhishek Aditya, Director, SCM McCain Foods. He's a leading supply chain professional with expertise in operations, transformation, supply chain, strategy. Ladies and gentlemen, last session for the last day. Can we hear it for them? A big round of applause before they start their wonderful panel discussion. Sir, over to you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think we have the most difficult time because this is just before the lunch break, and I can understand that everyone is rushed. So I'll keep it as dynamic as possible because we have some eminent panelists here from various parts of the industry. And to begin with, I'd request each and every one to please, give another round of introduction because they represent some of the most amazing organizations. And I think it's only fair that we give them a proper round of introduction. So, starting with you, Gaurav.
Check. Good afternoon, everybody. And sorry for keeping you wait for your lunch hour. but we would try to keep it as short as possible and informative. So I represent DSV Solutions in India. We are a Danish company. We are about 46 years old, and currently we are globally number third in the industry. Within India, we have two divisions: a freight division and a contract logistics division. I head the contract logistics division. As an organization, we are providing warehousing, distribution, and in-plant logistics services to our customers. Currently, we have about 45 warehouses, over 3 million square feet of space, which is owned, leased, and BTS. And we are continue to grow in this fantastic ecosystem and opportunity that we have in India. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chandrakala Boba. I represent Boba Group. We are a South Indian-based company, and we have been part of aviation for last more than 30 odd years. We've been GSAs for Lufthansa Cargo, and we've been part of cargo custodians and the airports and ground and ramp handling agents. Right now, we've also come up with our own micro warehouses in South End and looking forward to do a carpet bombing all over South. So we are also one of the 3PL service providers and catering to all sort of solutions in this industry.
Hi guys, my name is Balbir Singh and I represent a company called Knight Frank India. It's basically a real estate consultant. We are a UK based company and we are almost 127 years old company, maybe around 28 years in India now. We are almost like 1500 consultants in India who are split into 9 verticals, majorly into industrial logistics, office leasing, residential, commercial lands, valuations, PMC, and FM, and property management. So we only do real estate, and anything into real estate we normally can represent anybody, any company, and majorly into corporates and multinational companies. We normally, most of them are our clients, and happy to meet you all. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, my name is Sitaram. I head the supply chain and customer experience for Harman International. Harman is a US based organization which is one of the pioneers in audio products worldwide. Hopefully you might have a touch of Harman in your everyday walk of life, right? We touch consumers in every facet of your life, starting from your headphones to your car, to your concerts, anything for that matter, right? Harman has been in India for more than a decade, but Harman India is the growth market consideration for Harman globally. We look forward to the interactions. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, this is Abhishek Aditya. Good afternoon. Glad to be a part of this panel. I come with around more than 22, 23 years of experience across food industry, consulting, e-commerce, and also 1 decade almost in high-tech organizations like Nokia, Motorola, and building up Dyson when it started in India. With McCain, I have been close to an year now. McCain happens to be a Canadian company. We have been in India for last 25 years. We are market leaders in French fries and appetizers. Happy to share my insights. Thanks.
Thank you all for that introduction. We have, I think, a very good mix of panelists, some from the user group and largely from the business enabler group. So 3PL today is a very dynamic sector, especially the warehousing part. You know, businesses are always on the lookout to increase their customer efficiency or customer satisfaction ratio and cut costs and try to see how they can optimize their operations to be able to deliver value at the end of the day to consumers. And today, more and more customer expectations have increased. You know, gone are those days when an order is placed and customers are, are waiting for the orders to be fulfilled in about a week's time. Today, we are talking about minutes. You know, if you place an order within 30 minutes and 40 minutes, customers want their orders to be fulfilled. So that's the kind of dynamism this industry represents. And 3PL is a large contributor to be able to ensure but we fulfill those commitments that the customers have towards us. So essentially, partnering with a right and capable third-party logistics warehouse, has proved to be a very crucial element in terms of success for organizations at large. And today we are going to explore exactly that. So to begin with, I'm going to ask a common question to all the panelists. If you can share briefly a simple case study where your current 3PL provider was able to solve a specific problem with otherwise would have been difficult for you to manage on your own. So let's start with Chandra, if you can.
So we have launched a micro warehouse in Bangalore, which is Boba Logistics under the brand. Over there, our main forte being we've been in the service providing industry for last 30 odd years. So we've dealt with all kind of clientele, customers and partners. I think the main reason, and post-pandemic, the way 3PL has been coming into forefront, logistics has been in the forefront, because I think when we've seen the demand-supply shortage of products, of perishables, for any goods in the supermarket, it is when we realized that everything is being moved, supply chain people were part of it. And that is when you feel the necessity of warehouses, of 3PL facilities to be placed in a very strategic locations. And that is what is more important, because I think we come to a point where we order everything online. We want faster, quicker turnaround. We need quicker deliveries. We need last mile logistics. We need warehouses, facilities which are more in the city limits, yet not overcrowding the city buzz as well. Because I think with the way cities are expanding, infrastructure, roads, traffic, every city has its own situation. So I think that is when you go in, that is where we came into the idea of having the smaller warehouses and catering to the need of it. And I think so far, I think the demand is what is required. That is what was needed by the customers, and we've catered to it. And identifying such lands and 3PL players capturing it is one of the biggest things, which probably a 3PL could vision it better than the company. And I think that's where we came into the picture.
Sure.
Yeah.
Gaurav, if you can go next.
I think for us, as part of a international organization, making efficient warehouses which are optimizing all aspects of supply chain inside and outside the warehousing is part of our general DNA. We do it for all our customers. A very specific example, since you asked, is something that we have done recently for a very large global healthcare equipment manufacturing company. They manufacture MRIs, CT scan machines, and stuff like that. So we do their warehousing in Pune, and there we realized that they have a very high number of SKUs, which needed, of course, very specific storage, a lot of manpower, to kind of handle their supplies to their factory, production plant. We While we were doing the whole process, we proposed a very kind of new ASRS, approach, automated storage and retrieval. So we got two vertical carousels for this customer, and between that, we managed to save a lot of space in terms of square foot, and also a lot of head count. And this is pick by light. These machines, or these vertical carousels, as we call it, they store almost 4,000 SKUs, and they are just like a two-story building, a two-story tower. And it has tremendously improved the efficiency and timelines for this particular customer. And we started with this approach that we will jointly invest, and we showed them that is going to be good for the business in the next 5 years or 7 years. The client agreed, and now we have POC. We are doing it for over 1.5 years in a very, very efficient manner. So
That's fantastic.
So yeah.
Balbir, if you can go next. You can explain from a client perspective.
Yeah, see, normally being in real estate, we normally have challenge in servicing, especially in tier 2 cities where the 3PL wants to move more towards interiors of the country. And at times, like one of the challenges we had, that somebody told us, give us 4 lakh square feet at Aurangabad, and then you need to find out not one option, maybe even 6-7 options, so that he can decide on one. And that becomes a very big challenge, because being a small city, there are not so many investors, there are not so many developers, and because the client wants to be there, because either the vendors are there or the clients are there, where they want to service that particular demand, and that becomes a very big challenge. But kudos to the team who normally goes, travels, stays in the jungles, and finds out the unknown developer there, and asks him to invest. And at times, in one of the deal which we were working, where I think we were servicing Caterpillar, where we had to even get finance for the developer, so that he can build for the client, and so that he can run that show, and so at times these are the very big challenges from the developer side, and also from the consultant side, that not only you have to search a developer, search for finance, make his file look good so that he can get finance at a right rate, so that ultimately cost also matters. So within that cost structure and parameters of the clients or 3PL, you have to manage everything, so that becomes a very big challenge.
And ultimately, you also get the business to focus on their own respective
Yes.
areas of growth focus,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Great. Sitaram, if you can take the next one.
Yeah. So as a business user, right, there is unlimited expectations from 3PL partners, right? But as an organization from Harman side, we wanted, when we started our operation 6 years back, we established from India. We wanted to set up our warehousing operations here. So we selected a 3PL partner who could be nimble and flexible. Right? So we needed insights, because we treat them, not them as a vendor, but as a partner. Because if we have to scale up, that's how you do with a 3PL partner. So fortunately, we got a partner, 3PL partner, who was willing to invest in multiple facets. So as a consumer brand, we have a lot of compliances to take care of, right? So legal metrology compliances, it's a very laborious manual activity in most of the 3PL cases, or for any manufacturer. We want to see how best can we automate, right? It requires huge investment. Right? So we had to work ways with the partner, how can they invest in the automation, because it's a long run game. They were willing to do that, right? So which is a scalable solution for us. That's one of the use case. And second was in terms of the operations as well, right? It's not just from the brand, but there are a lot of scope of improvements which needs to come from the 3PL partner, because they are the ones who run the day-to-day operations.
Right.
So that insights is very, very useful as a brand for us. Again, fortunately, the 3PL partner, what we have, provides us with those insights, and they keep providing us with improvements with RPA automations, which the mundane task which can be automated, that's being done by the 3PL partner without an ask from the brand, as a value add from them. Right?
So in your case, it's flexibility and automation.
Absolutely. Yes.
I will cite an example from my previous organization. When we were building it up, Dyson, 4.5, 5 years back, when you build up something, and that too for a product which has an ASP of more than 50,000 rupees, and that too you are going 100% direct, you are selling it as a B2C directly through your websites. What you really matter is that the 3PLs don't look that as a box or as a shipment. They look that as what is the value addition they are creating. You'll have to look at next day deliveries, same day deliveries. Can you have a slotted day delivery between 3 p.m. to 5 p.m.? Can you do that? And can you sync that delivery so that your service installation also happens? At the same time, also have a white glove services also ready. For example, if someone is buying a hairdryer worth 65,000 rupees, why don't you have a different delivery done by a white glove services who can provide a demo at their home, they can provide some styles, they can do a stylings at home. How can you reduce your returns to refund cycle? How can you ensure once the return is being picked up within 24 hours, you can get a refund initiated in 24 hours to 48 hours? How can you work with your 3PL partners and ensure a hand-to-hand exchange happens. When I say a hand-to-hand exchange, for example, if you have a uh, black purifier and you want to return it, so the guy comes with a white purifier the same day, then he takes your old purifier back. So when we talk about the value-added services, it's very important for the 3PL partner to understand our business. More importantly, to understand the systems where I operate and how can he integrate with us? How can there be a seamless EDI connection? How can you provide me for example, supply chain happens to be in a boardroom discussion nowadays. How do you ensure that all the data points, what every one of us have, we can distill that, we can distill the noise and we can present to the CEO or to the board that, hey, this lane is not profitable, this is where we have maximum returns, these are the customers profiles which have issues, these are the lanes where we need to improve. So not only look at, okay, I'm just delivering a box at X rupees per kg, but I am providing an end-to-end value. That's what it really comes. At the end, it also comes, are you just really moving it or are you really giving an information that, hey, you can do this better. You don't need to use this asset to really deliver it. There are other assets which will be low in carbon emissions. They are EV vehicles which can do a city delivery. That initially it used to be from a carbon reduction goal what we had, but then later with the infra going on, it really made more economic sense for us to go green as well. So I guess we'll have to look at holistic, and the 3PL needs to understand that's not a business for a 2 years contract, but if you start adding back these value, then it really elevates the customer experience.
Yeah, so creating long-term business partnership is what you're focusing on. So my next question, Gaurav, to you is, on the point of, let's say, automation and creating value, what are some of the key trends within 3PL warehousing, which you see which can add, tremendous economic value for businesses and the nation from an India perspective?
I think the key trends in 3PL warehousing in general, I feel are there are quite a few. So first is automation. More and more densifying the storage inside a facility. In India, we see that since the land is relatively cheaper compared to some of the countries in the West, Europe, US and stuff, people are still focusing a lot on the ground storage and, not really going for racking or VNA racking and stuff like that. But I feel that the main focus for us for this year and the years to come is going to be to densify our storage and make our warehouse as capable as possible in terms of using the space that we have, because right now we lose a lot of vertical space because everything is spread on the ground. Generally, I'm saying. Secondly, getting in a lot of tech-based solutions. So we still are in a stage in India that we are focusing a lot on people. We have people for everything. You have to pick this up. You have somebody to do it, and we're not really investing a lot on automation. Like we just heard Abhishek, highlight that we need to have such automations built into the facility and not necessarily wait for the customer to ask for it. Probably create something like this, create that platform, and then present it to the customer so the customer actually comes to you. So automation, using of AI, using of data analytics, predictive data analytics, right. Because currently inside a warehouse, one of the biggest challenges is stock management, inventory management. If we use our systems properly, if we use blockchain properly, you would realize that you can be very, very efficient operationally. You can predict your stock turnover. You have the data of the supply from your warehouse, so you can predict how much space would be needed, what kind of transport would be needed. Yeah. Also you can do peaks and troughs accordingly. So I think data analytics, predictive analytics, again a very, very important development that I feel as a trend. Another very important trend, and I heard us also talk about it, that the session before also spoke about it, is sustainability. To follow the SDG goals, it's not a nice to have thing anymore. You know, it's a need to have thing. So if I don't want to follow the green goals and the sustainability goals, I'll probably lose my job, you know, because at a group level, at a company level, we have committed to certain targets, which are, you know, 2030 and 2040 targets that we have, and we have to follow it. India is obviously a little behind, is what I feel, but again, the trend is catching up very quickly. So I feel having sustainable warehousing will be another very important trend as we go on into the future. And lastly, I also feel that the initiatives that the government is taking, so all these you know, Gati Shakti and Make in India initiatives, and you know, creating these hubs, creating this infrastructure which is going to support the businesses. You know, so they are creating these logistic parks, giving you various subsidies to create these parks closer to the business and closer to the action. I think this is also going to be a very important trend. I think gone are the days when you would want to have your warehouse next to your house. You know, now because of the infrastructure, you can afford to be within 60, 70, 80 kilometers of the city or of the catchment area, and you can still serve the customer in time with the right efficiency. So I think these are the few trends which, as a 3PL, I feel is going to kind of rule us for the coming few years.
And especially as India today is also looking to be the third largest economy in the world, I think there is tremendous responsibility on each and every one of us, even as corporate citizens, to be able to ensure that we are creating some quality infra and reporting standards as per global compliance, which can really attract foreign direct investment into the country. That's how we'll propel towards being the third largest economy in the world. So from that infra perspective, Valbir, let me come to you. What are the different kinds of warehousing grades or quality of warehouses that are available in India? Because we hear about grade A warehouses, we talk about FM certified warehouses. What does it really mean?
See, like before 10 years or 15 years, you were actually having godowns, and which were typically RCC kind of godowns, and then we shifted to PEB kind of warehousing, and post that we had premix kind of flooring, and then something called international grade came in, which said, let's have a, what is grade A? Basically, this is not a grading done by government, so grade A is typically trying to sell that something of international standards, which says in the Western side what kind of heights they have, what kind of floor strength they have, what kind of UDLs they have, and what are the other factors which can help operate that warehouse smoothly, especially maybe say you can sewage treatment plants, or you have other facilities like air changers and insulation which can keep the warehouse cool, and so that is more workable, because now more and more people are working in the warehouse sizes are increasing. Earlier you used to see warehouse sub 1 lakh square feet. Now you have warehouses of 5 lakh square feet and 10 lakh square feet. So, and at any moment of time there are thousands of people working there. So you have larger offices also there. So some of the warehouses now, if you really see, they are class apart, where there's something very similar to a office complex, and so it's changing quite a lot, and we can see that. With bigger and bigger companies and bigger e-commerce companies, their demand is increasing on the specifications, and that's where there's no such standard called Western standard or grade A standard, but as the specs go up, it becomes a grade A or a grade A plus or maybe a double A kind of grade. So gradings are getting increased because the specs are high. The higher the specs, better is the grade. I will put it that way. Because rather than grading it to A, B, C, it looks odd.
Yeah.
Everything is a good grade. Only thing is, I think better specs, lower specs, depending on the demand of a 3PL or of a corporate client. And but if you really see how India is growing, is like, see, in India we are adding almost like 70 million square feet annually, out of which I think 40% is 3PLs. So 40% of 70 is almost like 28 million square feet. So if you really see 30 million odd square feet, if 3PLs are consuming and adding numbers each year, 3PL has, that's where I think makes sense to focus on that. 3PL are taking off good space in India. They are growing. It's a growing industry. More and more companies are focusing on their core skills, and they want to offload the business of logistics to 3PLs, And so overall, if you see, there is a very big synergy between warehousing and 3PLs. The more space goes to 3PLs, the more business 3PL gets. And now earlier 3PL used to not take warehouses as speculative, but now they've started adding speculative spaces, and that's where the game is. They are ready from day one to service their clients. Today, if any 3PL signs the contract, the next day they are ready to service them because they already have some white space available to service them. So this is how the synergy comes in between the real estate and 3PLs.
True. And in continuation to that, and from a user's perspective, Abhishek, if you can take this question. While we talk about, sustainable warehouses, we are talking to reduce our carbon footprint, and that's a global directive for most of the organizations. So from a user perspective, how, focused is organization like McCain to be able to create a grade, let's not say grade A, but a quality warehouse, which can really optimize your supply chain and really add value not only to your business but to the environment at large.
Uh, yeah, thanks. Uh, so the way we operate at a frozen category. We operate at minus 18 degree. Right from a raw potato comes, it goes into a cold storage at 5 degrees centigrade, and then the whole manufacturing and then the storage till the last customer's door. It happens at minus 18. For us, this really makes sense. And one of our 3PL partners, actually, what Gaurav said about ASRS. So one of our 3PL partners, they did that for us because we have a mother DC near close to our factory. For us, the velocity really matters because uh, you know, a day more than your factory will get closed. So there has to be a synchronous movement between the mother DC to the regional DCs and from the factory coming in. So one of the solutions was ASRS. What we did, that was the first office class for a frozen category. That really helps to increase the productivity. Another thing is also we need to be mindful that this is not only a need of an organization, this is need of the customer as well because they are temperature sensors across. They are temperature controlled dashboards which has been made at any time of at any part of the day. They are more than 150 to 100 odd vehicles, frozen trucks which is moving on the road. How do I ensure, I can't go and check a temperature log every time, but what I need is a visualization. I want that data to be democratized so that some of my guy can really look at, is there any alert which is coming if the temperature reaches at minus 15, minus 16 degree, because the customer will return. We have big customers like McDonald's, which they are very specific in terms of the outer boxes, if there is any damage, if the whole vehicle in which the system, your assets in which your stocks are moving, if there is a single, what I will say, a cobweb, or if there is any water, which is the whole shipment can be returned. That is the type of stringent rules where we operate. So this is a part of the game. How a company like McCain really wants to work and be focused on is how do we not only there's a lot of things we said about sustainability and reducing the carbon footprints. It's also very important that you democratize the data across. You have data of each and every lane, which lane, what.
Right, as a 3PL partner. I think most of the organizations realize the value of that because the time that you save is more that you earn,
Right.
and especially in terms of operations. And going forward, especially most of the multinational corporations who are coming into India, right, they have their own sustainable goals as well, right? As a 3PL partner, how can you help them in their sustainability goals? Right? So as an Harman, as an organization, we have our goals to reduce our scope 1, scope 2 emissions by 40% by 2025. And we keep a track through our 4PL operations, right, in terms of the inbound logistics. But in terms of 3PL operations, how are we tracking? Currently, there's no scope currently. Is there a way that the 3PL partners can build a system and help the organizations on the sustainability goals? That will be a very, very a value-add proposition from the partners.
Yeah, so while we keep, the whole nation, the whole world today is talking about sustainability, ESG, and stuff like that. I know, coming back to you, Gaurav, you know, because sustainability obviously comes at a cost, right? Do you see customers really appreciating the fact that there's a drive that an organization like DSP is taking towards being sustainable, towards contributing towards carbon neutrality? Do customers pay you more than what they normally do? Is there still because this price versus value is still a thing which is pretty much dominant in our industry. So is there something some ways in which DSV addresses that better?
So this is, I think, we are, Mandar, we are sitting on the cusp right now. I think we are just about at the stage where sustainability used to be part of the presentation or a pitch or a discussion to sustainability being the first slide in the presentation. So there is a huge change which has happened over the years. Uh, Now I also feel that more than us, customers are actually asking us, what are you doing about it? Is it just a part of your presentation, or is it something that you're actually putting in practice? Like a lot of people sitting here, we also have our scope 1, scope 2 targets. We have a net zero of 2050 and so on and so forth. But since I think, what gets measured gets done, right? So for us within DSV, we have, I don't know about other companies, but for what we have started is we have something called a carbon fund, a green fund that they have started at a group level. So all our companies are contributing something each month to that fund, and that fund is now globally used to sponsor green initiatives, and making warehouses more sustainable across the world. Now, what it has done is that it has also created this very healthy competition among the countries, right? So I know if I'm paying something, I want to use it, right? So I don't want to pay whole year and somebody else makes a project and takes all my money. So we are now proactively, we are getting into a stage where almost all our warehouses are on LED. All our new buildings will have solar panels and whatever else, we can put. So, for example, our facility in Bhiwandi, we are investing a lot of money. It's going to come up in October 2024. It will have solar from day one. It will have EVs inside the warehouse from day one, rainwater harvesting, and so on and so forth. So for us, we are in a position that, okay, we are saying fine. Customers are at least now much aware and they are very, very inquisitive. And some of the customers, and I'm not really trying to say it just because for the heck of saying it, some customers are actually eager to partner with us. And if I have to spend 100, they are willing to spend 50 out of it. So what Chandrakala also mentioned about this long-term partnerships. So for customers where we have this kind of partnerships, we are actually investing together and trying to make our whole supply chain more greener than what it was. So overall, I feel that we are far better off than what we were 5 years ago. When I joined DSV, I did not know much about sustainability, the way I know it now. So it's already a change. So I think, and yes, one more thing, we also measure our emissions. So we have something called Integram. It is a system which we are measuring our carbon footprint, both on air freight, sea freight, warehousing, transportation, all the chains, and we can actually provide data to customers as well on request as to how much we are emitting and what is the carbon footprint we are adding. So I think we are now confident that for the next 5 years when we are having this discussion, it's going to be a lot more evolved from what it is right now. But we're on the right track.
So Abhishek, my question next to you is, from a user perspective again, what are some of the shortcomings of your, let's say, for a 3PL partner, which you think if they are able to overcome can add substantial value to your business?
As actually what Chandrakala also mentioned actually, so many of the times the discussion between a client and a 3PL, it goes on a value versus costs. So we'll have to look beyond cost. You can get a lower cost, but we'll have to look at customer experience. What is the customer pain points this person is able to, if I'm being able to provide X% more, would he able to solve the customer issues? What is the customer experience is going to be likely? So I guess everything, you need to redesign your supply chain, your 3PL, from the way how it interacts with your customer, because customers, they not only want on an e-commerce and want it in 10 minutes, Some of them, you have like Reliance and DMart, which will have you slotted deliveries. They'll want at a particular time. Similarly, different customers like a McD's or other chains will have different expectations. So we'll have to stop thinking this as a one carton shipment going to happen. We have to think at, okay, what customer is it going to, and what are the qualifiers. Another way which I think so, one of the shortcomings is there's a lot of data which is generated, and I will not say from a 3PL side, do we really study the data? We always do a post-mortem after a 1 month, okay, what are your KPIs? It has to be more dynamic. You should be able to know that on 10th of the month, okay, my cargo was, my surface transportation was not utilized. Why am I at 68, 69%? Is it an issue of the 3PL or is it my sales pattern, my ordering structure? So I guess these types of dialogues needs to happen much more rather than a quality business, a QBR which happens once in a 3 months. That will make it more interesting, more engaging. 3PL will also feel that you are more inclusive to the business. You are more in the skin of the game rather than just a conversation on the rates versus the services what they provide.
Excellent. So, thank you, audience. I mean, from our side, we are over. The floor is now open for any question and answers. Any questions from the audience side? So thank you very much for being patient. We've tried to be as crisp as possible. And, the key takeaway is obviously sustainability is something which is here to stay. And as we are trying to be the third largest economy in the world, I think, as I've being repetitive, we need to contribute in our own individual way to be able to see how we can make this country a more dynamic country for global investors to be able to participate in the growth story of our country. So thank you very much for your time and have a great day and a weekend ahead.
Mr. Mandar, definitely it was a very crisp panel discussion. That's the reason nobody has questions because it was very clear, even for a layman, because I understood quite a few things too. Ladies and gentlemen, that was an insightful session. This was not just a discussion. It truly painted a picture on how 3PL warehousing is shaping the future of supply chains. Thank you to our panelists and our moderator, Mr. Mandar, for empowering us with such great knowledge.